corner where the treats at.
Is this the passing of the torch, right? Is this what this signifies?
It comes down to that front office and what they feel is most important.
The champ is here. We've touched down from a higher plane. Why you made it here?
We always look forward to that week because it was always intense.
You know that we ain't coming back. We about to.
The man, the myth, the legend, Dante Hall. My favorite player growing up was Dante Hall. I love you guys in the show, but Dante was my guy.
Get to dashing because you done on the warfare.
This episode of Chief Concerns is brought to you by betonline.ag. Hey there, Marcus Dash here from Chief Concerns. Just want to comment and say BetOnline is your #1 source for all your sports betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for football, baseball, boxing, golf, and much more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Monday Morning Tight End on a beautiful Monday night. I'm Marcus Dash here with legendary Chiefs tight end Jason Dunn. How's everyone doing?
What's going on? What's happening? What's up, everybody out there? Howdy. What's up, Marcus? What's up, brother? How you been? You doing all right?
Doing pretty good. Yeah, we're inching closer and closer and closer to the new league year start with next week. But tomorrow is the deadline for tagging. We saw a little bit of that happen today, which is perfect timing for our little kind of a review of our secondary tonight on our Monday Morning Tight End show. But yeah, I'm doing fantastic. You and I had a nice little chat earlier while I was at the gym. I made a comment on Twitter earlier. I know we have a lot of people who join our show on YouTube and stuff, so maybe you guys may not listen to us audio wise, but we received a pretty negative comment on our podcast on Apple Podcasts. So just want to have all you guys hopefully can go to our podcast or on Apple Podcasts and give us a nice review there to try to drown out the negativity, because the positive vibes always knock out the negative vibes.
Really? So you say we had a negative? Hold on, let me get my. We had a negative review. Really?
We had a negative review. Yeah.
Hey man, that's expected.
It's gonna happen.
Well, yeah. I mean, come on, man. Listen. Hey, when you're doing good things, you're always gonna have somebody that doesn't like what you're doing. Good things, and they're gonna have something to say about it. Now, I'm fine with that. That's all right. Hey, at least you're watching, right? That's the way I look at it.
That's true.
So you come and see it, and it didn't really hit your taste bud, right? Your ear like it should have. Then maybe you need to listen a little bit better, or maybe you need better earbuds. So like Wendy said, yeah, suck it. But you know what, man? You're always gonna have that, and I'm fine with criticism. I don't mind anything like that. So. Say hi to the people. Andrea, Ghost Hunter 1974. What's good, fellas? What's going on? Ghost Hunter, Andrea, hello. How you doing? Wendy, of course. Appreciate you, Wendy, showing up. You're always there for us.
The old faithful. We got our usual suspects in the chat tonight.
Yeah, good people.
Yeah,
one of them.
Ghost Hunter, yeah, Martin Moore as well. Love you, buddy. So yeah, obviously some news to get into today. So as we talked about last week on the show, the Chiefs were intending on tagging JariusSneed. That happened today officially. And so yeah, tomorrow we'll see more tags roll in. So yeah, we're gonna see all that stuff come on as we continue throughout the day tomorrow. And obviously, as we inch closer to the league year beginning next week, when we see potentially a trade happening, because that's a lot of the stuff I'm seeing is the fact that obviously we tag JariusSneed. That's a $19 million cap hit, which we'll get into tonight. But there might be a trade on the brink there. I think someone had looked at I think it was what's that radio show guy? You went on a show in Kansas City. What's his name?
Harrison.
Harrison. Yeah. He reported saying that it'll probably be a day 2 pick that we'll get for Sneed. And I think he looked at Marcus Peters, and I forgot who the other cornerback that was traded after a tag. I think second and fifth, third and fifth kind of stuff for JariusSneed, which, I think we'll all take that, especially if we're not going to pay him the $19 million a year. So that, we'll take a couple day two picks at least. But what do you make about that? Obviously, we talked about it last week, JD, but now that's here and we finally know that we are tagging him. What do you make of this whole, if we don't work out a long-term deal with him at a good price, he's probably gone for a day two pick? What do you think?
I think it's a good move for the Chiefs, to at least extend the offer, with the non-exclusive tag is definitely the way to go. It was smart on their end. To be honest with you, if you get somebody, let's just say that you have maybe a draft pick that you're trying to negotiate with, I'm looking for a higher draft pick that you can get. Obviously, I'm not looking for, like a day two. If we could get a second round pick, JariusSneed, that's what we're looking for, right? Or a third. I think we had to go into doing our due diligence and negotiation to make sure that we're getting the right thing that we want. But the thing is, man, JariusSneed is such a versatile, valuable player for us, and he could be for somebody else. That teams should be jumping all over this, and I think the Chiefs understand that. Nobody goes into these things blindly, Marcus. They don't. You absolutely know at least some of the desire out here as far as what teams have, and so I think sometimes when you're trying to fill a spot in a position in the draft, it's always a chance. It's always one of those things, man. It's a long shot. You never know, but you know what you're gonna get with the guy, JariusSneed, who got snubbed from the Pro Bowl. Okay, for one, who was one of the best corners in the league. I think everybody understands that. Some of the pundits or whoever was out here making some of the decisions, they didn't necessarily put him down as a Pro Bowl corner. But I think, to be honest with you, I think they really didn't appreciate the Kansas City defense to begin with. I think they never did anyway, right? And so always looking at the offensive side of the ball, JariusSneed was one of those guys that was absolutely killing wide receivers week in and week out, the best in the business. And it didn't matter who you put in front of him. He shut them all down. He really did. So he had one touchdown thrown on him?
Yeah, it was in the playoff. Well, did it end up being two? Because I know he had the one where Shakir scored the touchdown on him in the divisional game. Did he end up scoring? I think another one happened to him in the Super Bowl, I think.
So we're talking about playoffs, scoring touchdowns. None during the season. That's exceptional.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I did want to ask you about that. Andrew's bringing up a good topic here in the chat. Why are they bringing up his knee injury? Because I've seen more things about his injury this week, and now I want to ask you. There's two things here. Is that our team putting that out there to maybe lower his number, or is that other teams putting that out there to say they're concerned about it so they don't have to pay up too much as far as, we don't want to give you a second round pick. We're concerned about his knee. We'll give you a fourth round pick for him. I mean, where is that coming from? I know you know a lot about this, where agents will throw out stuff in there or teams will throw out stuff. Is that when you hear what people are saying, people are scared or concerned about his knee injuries and stuff, just his overall injury history, is that coming from team, or is that coming from our team, or is that coming from other teams?
I think it has to be something that is full disclosure that you're putting out here. So obviously our team's trying to put everything out on the table as far as like what some of the problems and issue might have been, him getting some of his knee cleaned up. So that could be it. That could be, at least on our side. Other teams want to know exactly what's going on with him. But this is also negotiation tactics is what it is, right? And so when I'm going into negotiations, especially with teams will bring up every single thing they could possibly get on you, right? And use that as the negotiation and bargaining tool, either for or against you. So when you go into negotiation, what's like, well, this guy did, your agent's supposed to tell you all the greatest thing, you're the greatest thing since sliced bread, right? Oh, he's so fast, he's good looking, whatever it is, right? He smells good, he comes out of the shower, he's clean all the time, right? His hygiene. But then the team is like, well, look, we understand that, but also too, he might have had, maybe 3 girlfriends in 2 years, okay, or something of that nature, right? Whatever fallacious thing you might have to say about someone, that's what teams will try to do. But it's all negotiation tactics. That's all it is.
And you think the knee thing that's coming from our side negotiating, or other teams saying, hey, like, we want to trade for him, but like, you ain't getting a second round pick. We're concerned about his knee injury. We're going to give you a fourth round pick. You better take it or leave it.
So I think it's both, right?
Both.
On our side, it's full disclosure. Like, hey, listen, we letting you know, like, look, he did have his knee cleaned. We just want y'all to understand that. So at least you know where to start with them saying, like, hey, wait a minute, hold on. We didn't know this guy had a knee injury. Well, yeah, you did. We told you about it. And so don't try to come back and say, well, the Chiefs wasn't forthcoming with all the information that they needed because we finding out that he had his knee cleaned out. Well, yeah, everybody kind of knew that. And if you didn't, we're disclosing it right now so you don't try to use it against us. And if anything, let's look at what he did the entire season. How about that? Okay, let's look at the results. So you can say whatever you want to say about the injury. These things happen with guys, but let's look at the results of this past year. Okay, who can mimic that type of production from a corner? So.
Yeah, I don't know. It's when I saw that, I was like, that's interesting timing for that stuff to come back. Because like, obviously, we heard that all throughout the offseason last year. Remember during training camp, preseason. Remember there was that mysterious, like, well, what's this injury he has? And he obviously didn't affect him at all during the season. But now season's over, we're hearing about that again. It's like, okay, what's going on here,
brother? Look, I want you to understand it. Everybody, I don't care what player it is, everybody's keeping a tally on you in the organization. And then, of course, if they know that you're coming up, maybe free agency, or you might be a potential guy, they might get on their squad. They're going to have every single thing on you. Like, I don't think people realize, and this is a perfect time to talk about this, the amount of homework that teams do, like the background checks. I can remember when I came out of the draft, I found out through one of my my hometown's police departments that they were checking to see like if I had ever gotten in any type of trouble.
Wow.
They checked to see, what my grades were in grade school, high school, if I had anything ever come out on me. But this is the extensive work that they do.
Right.
And you got to understand that, and people don't know this, the people that the NFL hires are usually like former FBI agents or CIA people that do a lot of, intelligence, gap.
People have been around a block or two.
Yeah, man. They know how to blend in. Maybe if you're going out, they're sending guys out to come watch you, what you're doing on a daily basis. They're checking what your college, what your friends are saying, what your friends are doing. When we're talking about investing a lot of money into guys, then teams have to go in and say, look, we want to find out who this guy really is. Okay. Yeah, what we see maybe on social media is one thing, but then all of a sudden, where he's at off the camera is another thing, right?
Right.
Those are the things we got to find out. And so when I'm telling you, when guys are like being followed and all those different things, these things do happen. They do happen. So
I will say too, this is seven, 8 figure investments, right? I mean, so I get it. You're buying stock, and these guys are buying lots of stock in players and stuff. So I mean, especially first and second round picks for sure.
Oh yeah. We're talking about a long-term deal, man. That's a whole lot of money being thrown around, and teams just want to be right on guys. They do. Yeah. They just want to be right on guys. So,
how long into the journey, the draft? It's the draft phase where you heard about they called your local
oh man,
police authority.
You know what? I don't know, and this is, I think it's pretty common. I guess. I'm from a small town here in Kentucky. It ain't too much things I could be able to get into that, right? But guys always find a way to get in some type of trouble, man. When you're a young man, you find trouble anywhere.
Yeah,
that's a given. That's always out of here, right? But I at least when I was alerted to it, I was like, wow, really? Like this was happening? So I'd have to say maybe through the entire process, these things were going on.
Dang.
So you had to think though. I mean, if a team is sitting there saying, look, we're going to get a guy for 4 years, 5 years, maybe for somebody we want to keep for the entire duration of his NFL career, right? Who are we getting? Is this guy a sociopath? Is he a psycho or narcissist? Is he, what type of guy is he? What is he all about? What type of family does he come from? Right? Who does he hang around? What is his views? All those different things, ideologies, whatever it may be. Right? Any of those things could be a distraction with a guy on the football field. They're gonna make sure they're gonna come through, man. They're gonna overturn every single rock that's out there. They are. They're gonna talk to people to figure out who they are. So that's the way it goes, man. That's the way it goes. So
yeah, that's not really shocking, but it's just funny because you cover a little small community. So like, I'm sure you were alerted about that right away, and they probably know the law enforcement. They probably knows your family, knows everyone there. Small towns, everyone knows everybody.
Yeah, like who are you? Come looking for Jason, and then it's like, we're such and such.
You know his family. What's their family like while we have you on the phone?
Oh yeah. And sometimes it's not even a phone call. I'm telling you, this is a visit. This is a flight, and so. They do things very, very detailed in the NFL. Put it that way. So
I will say, I think the social media aspect of things makes their job easier for certain aspects of what you were talking about. It also makes it harder too, because there's so many different avenues they have to look at now. Like, Instagram posts, tweets, old Facebook posts. If he had a MySpace when he was a kid, like other things like that. Actually, I will say, I think a lot of the kids these days probably didn't have MySpace. So they're probably done with the MySpace aspect of things, but. It makes it easier, and there's also more things to look at now with social media.
It is, but you know what? This is like when I was coaching in college. I would tell my guys, like, man, watch what you're putting out here on social media. Like, I get that you're hanging out with your boys, but you're not like everybody else on campus. You're just not. If you do have aspirations to go certain places, you got to think these things through. I mean, we see guys right now who are in the NFL. Get in trouble, or maybe put their foot in their mouth because of something that they said, and they start to react on particular things, maybe not as they should. So I'm always trying to tell my guys, at least I did, was telling my guys, like, hey man, watch what you're doing. If you don't want something in the paper, okay, you always have to think about this. Never put something on social media that you know that your parents, your family, anybody would be an embarrassment. Okay. So don't go posting, that you're at a party drinking 10 bottles and like, oh, look, I done ran through, a full case of beer tonight. Okay. Partying up with my guys. Or if you're into other activity, right? Whatever it may be. Yeah. Don't post it on here. You don't have to.
Yeah. And the Laremy Tunsil thing was a good example of that. Like, whoever had that video of him, doing the bong hit on his draft night, or that video that posted on social media on the night of the draft, obviously the person had some kind of vendetta against him to even post that. But like, you don't remember that story?
No, I didn't know anything about it. What happened?
The first, was it 2016, I think? It was a draft night right before the draft, or like, I think we're going to 20 minutes before the draft goes on. A video of Laremy Tunsil gets posted online anonymously of him filming himself do a bong hit with like a mask on and everything. Yeah.
Bong hit.
Yeah.
We're not talking bong like drinking bong hit. We're talking about
a bong hit.
Blazing bong. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I mean, and that's the thing too. It's like that video is out there. Where I don't really know the backstory, how that person even got it or who the person was. I don't know if they ever came out, but like the fact that video was even in the first place in the ether, the fact that person had access to it, to even you put yourself in that kind of like in that predicament where like that video exists, someone has it, they got it somehow, and there you go. You film yourself doing that, and that's going out. Yeah. But that was 2016 standards. I mean, obviously, I think the NFL still weighs heavily against marijuana, but
Hey man. One thing we know is the haters are out here, right? We just talked about that on a review for us. So we somebody get that like, I can't stand Larry. Maybe he dumped somebody, or maybe he took somebody's girlfriend, or I don't know, whatever it was. Maybe they was tired of him winning like he was. And so, these things do occur, man. They do.
Yep. A lot of haters out there.
A lot of haters. That's okay. We good. We're gonna congratulate it. Love you.
There you go. On the Brown, literally was going to say something about Laremy Tunsil. I, as a Dolphins draft social, that video got put up on the screen. The Dolphins draft social, man.
Wow.
Oof. Yeah. Crazy. Yeah, I remember that. And that was a talk at ESPN. All those guys were just talking about it. They wouldn't stop talking about it the entire night.
See, and that goes into a guy's character. So immediately you question the guy's character, right? So it's not like, hey, man, you know what? This guy's a young kid. Well, he's not really a kid, but he's a young man, whatever it is, getting into the world. People are doing things maybe they shouldn't be doing, making a choice and a decision, right? Is it something for a team to look past? Yeah, sure. You can say, hey, man, look, make better choices than what you're doing, right? The guy's doing this, and he's, and like you said, it's looked down still in the NFL, marijuana. Yeah. You just got to be more aware, self-awareness, especially where you are coming into this whole, draft process. You just got to be aware of it, things, man. And so that's the way it works. That's the way it works.
Yeah. So. All right, so we're gonna get into our secondary. We're gonna go over like we done with every other position group. We're gonna go talk about the free agents. We're gonna highlight one of the guys, and then we're gonna talk about who is still on our who's our cap hits for this upcoming year. So let's begin with our first lesson in class tonight. All right, okay, so there we go. We got our secondary here. These are the free agents we have. So we only have two technically now that we have a guy who's tagged. Well, let's begin. So we got Mike Edwards, safety. We got him last year, 1 year deal, $3 million. Deion Bush came back, another 1 year deal. I think he made like a veteran minimum. And JariusSneed tagged. That's a tag. Cap hit about 19.8 mil. So that's that. We'll get to the JariusSneed aspect of things. But JD talking specifically about Deion Bush, Mike Edwards. These are guys who aren't really talked about a lot. I don't hear a lot of people even talking about retaining them because obviously, like we've talked about, Chris Jones and JariusSneed are the first two dominoes to fall in the entire, free agency landscape for us in the Chiefs kingdom. But like Mike Edwards and Deion Bush, those are two guys. Deion Bush more so special teams, but he did come give some spot help throughout the year on defense when guys were out with injuries and stuff. But then Mike Edwards was phenomenal. Probably one of the most unsung additions of our free agency class last year. That's a guy I would love to have back. Obviously, we're going to see what kind of price he wants going forward. But what do you think about the Mike Edwards and Deion Bushes of the world?
Look, I like Mike Edwards. I think Mike Edwards is a solid safety. He's one of those guys that is always going to bring his hard hat and lunch pail to work every single day. When he's out there on the field, he's going to be solid for you. He's going to make plays. He's going to always show up. And he's kind of got that wily veteran presence about himself that teams covet. And so when we had Cooks that got hurt for us last year, Mike Edwards came in and did a tremendous job in his reserve. He really did. And so I think if you look at his games and how he played, he did a great job for us. He really did a great job. And so Mike Edwards is a guy that I think that you still had to and sit there and ask, like, look, is this a guy that we want to keep on our team? He's a guy that is a captain just by the way that he moves around, the way that he plays. You can see that guys like this, like Mike Edwards, right? You like a guy like that. You like a player of his caliber on your team. He makes your team better. And so it's just not left on Justin Reed to be like the captain or the voice. Mike Edwards comes in and he knows exactly what to do. He's been on championship teams. So we understand that. He knows what it means to be a champion. If teams don't understand that, you could go to this whole McCall Harmon thing when he was talking about the Jets, about what you do to be a champion. He could understand, like, maybe some of the things they were doing wasn't a championship team, okay? You get mad at him all you want to. You could say that he gave some things off about, the offenses or whatever, or gave the defense what their plans were. But he's right. You want guys that understand what it means to be a champion and how you become a champion, what it means to take care of your body, doing all those things. Mike Edwards gives you that, right? He's that veteran presence. And so then we go down to like a guy like Deion Bush. Deion Bush, like you said, is more of a special teams guy, okay? He's one of those guys that's always going to push to try to make the team. He's always going to come in. He came in, made a play. He got the interception with the one game. What was that?
The Ravens game?
Was it Ravens or was it the Bills? Was it Ravens? I don't know, man.
I thought it was that play where everyone said he was they were holding.
Yes, Ravens. That's right, in the end zone. Correct.
Yep.
And so that's what you want. You want a guy to come in and fill the position and not be a drop off. Okay, Deion Bush is those guys. He's a guy that I love because he comes and explode and he'll hit guys.
Yeah.
That one game, maybe that's what I'm talking about. The Bills. I think when he came in, he just started tattooing guys. I mean, laying them out. I'm just like, man, who was hitting these jokers out there like that? And it was Deion Bush. He was lighting folks up. And so he was just taking advantage of his opportunities that he had, man. So I like these guys. Obviously, what you want to try to do to retain these guys is have a team-friendly deal to keep them here. And I think the Chiefs will try to do that. We know we got some very capable guys on the squad right now. When Chamari Connors, when Cooks come back, will we be looking for somebody in the draft for maybe another safety? Yeah, possibly, of course. I'm gonna bring up another guy that people don't really talk about, at least in this whole process, is Justin Edwards. Okay, people talk. Well, Justin Reed. I'm sorry, Justin Reed. Yeah, Justin Reed. People are talking about Justin Reed and want to get rid of him and get out of meet the contract with Justin Reed. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't quite understand sometimes the mindset people get into, that they only think about money. They don't think about impact on the team, right? And sometimes when you get caught and just thinking about money, trying to save money, then guess what? You put everybody else in jeopardy. You compromise what you're trying to do defensively, offensively, whatever it is that you're trying to attack in that position, particular position. I say that we were compromised, I think, on wide receiver wise. Okay, I will say that maybe because of some of the moves that we didn't make. Now that's what we say we want to overkill now at the wide receiver or whatever.
Overhaul, overcorrect.
Or whatever it is, right, to get guys in here now, right? Overcorrect. You do too much of overcorrection. But I like our secondary. I like everybody that's in there. Obviously, we know JariusSneed and the tag that we got. He's a solid guy, most versatile corner that is probably in the league. Can do it all. Can play slot, can play corner, can play safety. You can put that guy anywhere, and he'll make a way. He'll be one of the better guys in the league playing at that position. Okay, that's what the JariusSneed gives you. And so, like I said before, it was smart for the Chiefs to go ahead and tag the JariusSneed. So
yeah, I fear that for the people who are big fans of the Mike Edwards of the world, because I think we'll get to Sneed in a second here, but I think Sneed's pretty much, I think we could say he probably is gone. I think they're going to get traded for a pick. There's too much hype around that aspect of moving on and allowing him to seek a trade. But I think the Mike Edwards of the world, I think the same thing is going to fall into the whole JariusSneed thing. We have and we're going to get to all the guys we have on the roster. We have so many guys at DB, at cornerback, safety, so many guys who are going to be kind of filling these roles that these guys played a pivotal part of this year. I think Chamari Connor, we're going to see even more of him next year because he means a guy who can play safety, DB, cornerback, slot, nickel, anything. And that's something that we have versatility, and that's something that we like. And that's why we have those guys, so they can fill in, and we don't have to end up paying another 1 year, $4 million or $3 million deal to Mike Edwards. And I think he's earned more than that. And I think if I was him, this guy's got 2 rings now, one from us and one from Tampa. I mean, he can chase as much money as he can. And quite frankly, go for it. Go do that. I mean, you brought a ring, to us.
A guy like Mike Edwards will always be employed.
Oh, yeah.
He will always be employed because teams understand what they get with a guy like him, right? There's no question about it. And so he's not somebody that is going to turn down tackles. He's not somebody you have to worry about getting in trouble, whatever it may be, right? He's going to be a solid guy that's going to be able to come on your team, and he's going to produce. He's going to produce. So yeah, if he's able to go out in free agency and get some money, then hey, but forever by all means, more power to him, right? I'm all about that anyway. I love guys being able to go out there and get paid a big money
for sure.
But my thing is, like you said, the versatility of the guys that we have. We got a lot of guys. That's a great problem to have when you have a lot of guys. play.
When I was
right?
making the list to see who's under contract next year, and there was even guys we signed to a futures deal who a lot of people were loving coming out of the draft the last year. Trey Dean, who we'll get into that when we talk about the list we have. But I was looking at it, I was like, man, there's so many guys we have here. I just can't really see us. We've already devoted a lot of assets and resources to that room. It's like you're going to spend more money on that, and you're letting Sneed walk. You want to keep Chris Jones at the big deal that he wants, and they're probably going to give it to him based on everything I've read, which is great. But like that's got to come from somewhere, and we have a lot of money and a lot of things tied to. Well, we don't have a lot of money tied to it, but we have a lot of resources and assets tied to the DB room, and we're going to have a lot of guys coming back. Najee Johnson will be coming back this year from his ACL injury. I mean, there's so much going there in that DB room. So. It'll suck to lose Mike Evers because he was great this year, man. Like I didn't know much about him going into the season, but he gave so much energy and like life to our defense. I mean, he had some really big plays. The defensive secondary that really didn't get a lot of takeaways. He was one of the guys who had a lot of takeaways on the season for us. And I believe he was the one that pitched the ball to Cook on the infamous Tyreek Hill fumble. He was the one that got it and gave it to Brian Cook on that. So bro, these ads are going like crazy tonight. About time. I'm sorry, brother. I don't know. That's YouTube, man, not us.
What's that? What's going on?
No, About time says, bro, these ads are coming like crazy tonight. But that's a YouTube issue, buddy.
I'm the Brown says Devin White and Edwards destroyed our Chiefs. They did. They played lights out against us.
Domination.
Oh my gosh. So that's what I know. I watching them in Tampa. And then having Mike here, I'm just like, man, that's a perfect match made in heaven. Why wouldn't we get a guy like that?
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't we get a guy like that?
Yeah.
So the teams are going to win, like I said, with a Mike Edwards. They are. They definitely will. So.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. That's 49ers on some janky biz. Did you see that? They tried to snag away Spagnuolo.
No.
They offered the DC job. That's why we jumped on and offered him that extension. To give him about $5 million a year on that extension because they try to swoop in and get him.
Yeah, look, man. I think Spags is a guy that is a loyal guy. I don't think for him, he wanted to take it. They had to give him an offer that he couldn't refuse, which was going to be hard to do. And you already done won Super Bowls here. You can look for a three-peat. There's no reason to go to the dark side like the 49ers to try to help them jokers out, So, but that's what they were talking about, not just Spags, right? So they try to get a couple of guys.
Well, they had what's his name, our DB's coach, interviewed for that job as well. He didn't get it. I think they promoted somebody within their organization, but they wanted Spags and they wanted guys, slipped my name right now. Our secondary coach, which is odd for some reasons. But yeah, so obviously they like something that we had on our side of the ball.
Well, yeah. You talk about Dave Merrick.
Yes, Merritt. Yeah, blanked on that one.
Yeah, but man, we Spags is a guy that, like I said, is a loyal guy. You can tell his character is one that he loves a guy that he's coaching. Why would you want to go anywhere else? And I think the Chiefs. I'm glad that the Niners came in to try to sweep him up. That helped him in his case.
Mm-hmm.
For him. So I'm glad we paid him and didn't let him go. So
yeah, he showed Reed and Veach that, hey man, like they want to bring me in. You guys gotta ante up a little bit, and then we did. And we did it. The crazy thing was, the parade was Wednesday. They announced it like that right before the parade. So Sunday to Wednesday, San Francisco reached out to him. They probably, when they're shaking hands, Lynch was like, "Hey, we'd love to bring you in as a DC."
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna go to talk a little bit more about JariusSneed, the man of Monday, I would say. So Sneed was tagged officially today. 1 year, $19.8 million, which if he's traded, that'll be picked up by the other team, so that wouldn't be on us. Reported tag and trade if long-term deal is not reached. So reportedly so far, you got Dolphins, Lions, Eagles, Falcons are all interested in JariusSneed. Those are the teams that have been listed. by numerous different reporters that are interested in Sneed. The thing that stands out to me here, JD, is the fact that 3 of the 4 teams are NFC teams, and then the one team that's not NFC team is a team that we trade Tyreek Hill to. So I thought that was pretty funny. But if we are going to trade him to the best offer, I would say number 1, number 2, get him to the other conference.
Look, it's always the best offer. To me, that's the way that you had to deal with this. I wouldn't necessarily care if he was in the same conference. I really wouldn't. If the deal works, and I don't even care if it's a divisional opponent. To be honest with you, shoot. My thing is, hey, if they give you what you want, then you take it. That's the way that works. But yeah, man, he goes to the Lions. I mean, sure, you go to the Lions, man. You put them jokers on a whole different level. I mean, them jokers was good this past year. Same thing with the Eagles. The Eagles, they've been looking for a DB. They've been looking for a guy. Bradbury and those guys didn't work for him. So, if Sneed went to the Eagles, it'd be something else right there now. It'd be something else. Falcons, they're not going to be making no noise anytime soon. No time soon. Dolphins, obviously, we know what you had to deal with on the opposite side of the ball. Defensively, I still think that you can challenge them, against their defense. But I do think, with the Lions and the Eagles, it does strengthen what they got. Yeah. So yeah, Ghost Hunter says I think the Lions and Eagles are most likely to land him. Yeah, probably. And here's the thing though too, we got to realize, Eagles, they do have some of the people that we got a connection with, right? That's how it works. So maybe there might be something, a friendly thing happens. Okay, friendly thing happens with them because we just, we got a little bit more of a rapport and relationship with the Eagles. Okay,
that's true. Yeah, I was looking at their obviously I'm always trying to look and see what other teams were wants and needs this offseason. Apparently, the Lions, who they went out this offseason, they went and got C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who was with Philadelphia last year. They brought him in, and apparently there's a chance that he could go back to Philadelphia this year. It was a 1-year deal. But looking at talking about to the day 2 picks, the report that came out today that we probably go get a day 2 pick. The Lions, I haven't looked. I didn't look at the Eagles. So yeah. So Eagles have 2 second-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and potentially 4 fifth-round picks. That projected compensatory picks. They have 4 of those. So they have 2 seconds and 4 fives. I can easily go a package of a 2nd and 5, and then the Lions have 2 thirds. So, I mean, obviously we were talking about best offers there. You have either a 2nd and a 5th, or a 3rd and a 6th or something. I wouldn't mind either one of those, to be quite honest with you, especially if we don't want to pay the price tag that JariusSneed wants.
Yeah. Well, there's so many scenarios that you can look at, right? What you want to be able to get. So I'm looking over here right now. Like I said, I'm looking for a 2nd rounder, 2nd and 3rd. I further down in the draft, I'd rather not have. It's just more of a chance. Now, like you could get a 2nd rounder for him. That's what you want to do, right? So when I'm looking, you said the Eagles have 2, right? 2nd round.
Eagles have 2 second-round picks. Yes.
Okay, so I see pick number 53 and pick number 50 from New Orleans. So that's 2 good positions, no doubt about it.
Yeah. Falcons have 2 third-round picks. Lions have 2 third-round picks. So that's the one thing I'm noticing, that pretty much every team that we're looking at has multiple either 2nds or 3rds. Let me see with the Dolphins. The Dolphins have any more to give? Yeah, Dolphins have nothing. They have a 1st, 2nd, no 3rd, no 4th. Yeah, the Dolphins, unless they give us that 2nd, out. They're out of my out of my estimation.
Yeah. So where's I don't see that happening. And we that's pick number 55. So I just, if you get 2/3, that's what it'd be also too. Like, hey man, you can put that on the books. But look, you had to make it worth our while. We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's a good thing that we have the rumors 4 teams potentially wanting the one guy. Then you have a bidding war like, hey, like we're getting this off from so and so. We'll probably end up doing what we did with Tyreek. Like, hey, like Jets are offering us this, Miami's offering us this. Like, we're probably gonna go with this one. Is that okay? That's probably what's gonna end up being something along the lines of that when you have 4 teams bidding for one guy.
Yeah. I just, to me, like that's why I said Philly kind of makes a little bit more sense. I like where they're sitting at in the picks.
Yeah.
So.
And they have 4 5th-rounders, so they'll be able to part with one of those fifths and a second. That'd be amazing.
Oh man, it would be. It would be. And
we know Veach does those 5th-round picks. He likes those. Sneed was a 4th-round pick, but close enough. But Veach dominates with those late day 3 picks.
Hey man, yeah, dude. He's supposed to be the secondary whisperer, right? That's Veach. That's his thing, huh? Is what he's been showing up with.
I mean, he finds gems.
Yeah.
We have questions here talking about Justin Reed, so we're going to get to that now, guys. We're about to get to that. So now, so we're going from JariusSneed to the guys we have on the roster currently. So I'm going to go down the cap hits of all the guys in the secondary that we have. Like I said, look at that list. I mean, that's just extraordinary. I mean, all these guys, for the most part, are solid guys, and they're going to be great going forward. But so JariusSneed leads off the way with $19.8 million as a franchise tag. Justin Reed, $14.2 million cap hit. I'm seeing Amda Brown's really going hard in the chat about releasing him, saving money. So just to back him up here on how much that would save us. So his dead cap is $3.5 million. So if we were to release him, I'm not saying we should, but if we were to release him, we would get about $10 million back. Based on the $14.2 million cap hit. I don't agree. I think Reed was fantastic this year. But going next, Trent McDuffie, $3.8 million cap hit. Brian Cook at $1.5 million cap hit. Josh Williams, Shamari Connor, 1.1. Jalen Watson, $1 million. We have a bunch of guys here that when I was going through the list, I was like, well, who are some of these guys? And Kelvin Joseph, I think that was a futures deal that we just picked him up. He's making about $1 million. Keith Taylor, I think that was another futures guy, about $985,000. Tyree Gillespie, $985,000, another futures guy. Nick Jones, we drafted him in the 7th round last year from Bowling Green. So you got that $934 price tag. Echo Boy Doe, $915. He was on the team last year. Trey Dean's the one that I'm very kind of excited about. This guy who did pretty well at the combine last year. I thought he was going to be like a top 5 round guy. There's a lot of the draft experts had him as like a 4th round guy. Ended up going undrafted with the Jets. Chose to come to Kansas City at the end of the year. And then Najee Johnson, exclusive rights free agent. So that means we have the rights over him. So he'll probably be coming back. He's already working out, looking phenomenal. Before he got injured, he was running with the ones, and then he tore his ACL in that indoor practice and during training camp. He'll be ready to go. I'm excited to see what he does. We're gonna have him on the show at some point this offseason to talk about his, how he's been getting ready to come back to the squad and everything. I mean, nasty Nazi, he's ready, baby. JD, when you look at this list, obviously I want you to comment on the Justin Reed stuff, that saving $10 million, but when you look at this list, what stands out to you when you see all the guys that we have in the secondary? Because this is a fun, young, fast secondary, man.
Yeah. I see when I'm looking at, man, there's a lot of talent, a lot of young talent that we have that you're able to save a whole lot of money with because of the young, right? And so I'm looking at, McDuffie, Cook, Williams, Watson, Connor, you know what I mean? Like you said, Johnson, you have guys, Nick Jones, you have guys that could come out here and can play for you. And then learning from Sneed this past year, watching what he can do, helps out tremendously. Dave Merritt is the guy that we know helps develop these guys. And so there's a lot of names here. There's a lot of guys here. Like you said, I didn't know we had that many guys on the squad, or even like future signings of what we're doing. The thing is, I would say maybe, let me just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Four of these guys probably won't be here. I'm just looking at right now. Okay. Just off numbers alone. So sometimes when you have numbers, then you can move left or right. And this is kind of what teams do, right? To save on their money. This is like, okay, we know we can have this. We can move a guy here, get rid of him. Hey, let him move on to greener pastures. My thing is, your core guys that you have that we know came out and played and did a great job, even on special teams, those are the guys you keep. Those are the guys that you make sure you're going to make a staple. So the whole Justin Reed thing, if you do it with Justin Reed, you don't want to decimate the entire secondary. That will be wrong to do. Okay, so if you don't keep an Edwards, you got to keep, definitely a Reed here. Making $10 million. Because what was it that because everybody was up in arms when we let Honey Badger go. What was Honey Badger looking for? Do you remember? Do you remember what his contract was looking like? Do you remember that?
Oh man, I want to say, was it about 14 plus a year? 14, 15 plus a year?
Let me see. Shoot.
Because what did he end up getting?
I
New Orleans.
I don't know. We have to look at that.
Here, I'll look real fast.
All right. But my thing is, for what Reed gives you, it's almost like you got to be able to put, he's worth the penny. Reed played, I think he played lights out this past year. His first year, he did a tremendous job. This year, I think he did a better job than he did last year for us. And so, people can sit there and say, yeah, well, should he be making this much money? Was, what are you looking for him to sign for? So.
Yeah, it looks like they gave him a 3-year, $28 million contract.
That was Honey Badger?
Mm-hmm.
3-year, $28 million?
So we end up paying more for Justin Reed.
Well,
I mean,
yeah,
2 rings out of it. Can't complain about that.
He's out of it, younger guy, right? That was part of it. Okay, and so
yeah, that's true. And obviously, if Sneed is gone, which it would sound like it's gonna be, we look at this list. That's a very young list, and I know most of these guys have 2 rings already, which is wild. 2 years in the league, most of these guys have 2 rings. But like Reed, and it seems like this year specifically, I think second half of the season, Reed really showed how big of a presence, how much of a leader he is in that team. And you can see the relationship him and Spags have with each other. They're really tight. He was the one who made the in Spags We Trust t-shirts. He was the one who had a whole website made for those t-shirts. It just feels like he is the voice. Obviously, Chris Jones is the guy on the defense, but like it seems like he is one of those pivotal guys on that being a defensive leader on this team. There hasn't been any talk of us. I think a lot of fans are saying to save $10 million by releasing him. But what did you talk about? What you saw from Reed this year? I think specifically second half of the season, what we saw from him, because it seemed like he finally grew into that role of why he brought him in here. It seemed like it flashed really second half of the season. I mean, you saw the way he was laying dudes out.
Okay, so full disclosure here. Okay, I think last year, Reed struggled in pass coverage. Okay. And I thought that was one of those things when defenses was looking against us this year, or offenses are looking against us, they were going to attack that part of Reed. That's what they're going to do. They're going to go after Reed, in the passing game with your tight end, safety, get the matchups. And what Reed showed me this past year was he was violent in his tackling, short tackler, did a great job covering guys. He knows exactly where to be on the field, but also too, like you're talking about his leadership and his voice. It's something that it's hard to put a price tag on. So what I would see game and week in and week out is him making plays. He was just making plays. So if we had this conversation last year and I'm like, hey, okay, maybe this is something that you might look at is, are we overpaying this guy? But this year, he completely validated the money to me, completely. And so I was impressed with Reed this entire year. I ain't gonna lie. I'm telling you. As good as our corners were, Reed was dressed right up there with them. And when you have somebody in secondary that can orchestrate what guys are doing and where they need to be, that's vital for your success. It really is. And so Reed gives you that. Yeah, he's super intelligent. He's kind of like the quiet guy. He's not like a big rah-rah guy, but he's more
lead by example.
Yeah, lead by example, methodical in the things that he's doing, right? And so he's helping this young secondary understand, where they have to be. That like you're talking about a pivotal piece, everybody has a role to play. Reed, without a doubt, is a leader on the defense, okay? And he's a leader in the secondary. We know the leader in the secondary is Reed. Linebackers is Bolton. And on the D-line and the entire defense is Chris Jones, okay? We understand that. So if you're talking about, maybe moving a guy like Sneed, right? You still got young guys who have gotten a little bit of playing time, but it hasn't been a full-time starter for a number of games, right? Case in point, Watson and Williams, okay? Justin Reed's a guy that can help out with those guys, okay? Where they need to play, where they need to be in relation to him and everybody else on the team. That's a voice that you need out there. He's an extension of Spags. When we talk about that, you're an extension of your defense coordinator. That's huge. That's a huge thing to be. When I look at safeties, okay, and I played with some great safeties in my lifetime, okay, from Mike Zordich to Brian Dawkins, to Greg Wesley, Jerome Woods, we're talking about Sammy. There's a slew of great, a slew of like great safeties out there playing. Chenard. I can name them. I can name guys. And the thing is, what each and every one of those guys had, Jared Page, we can name them. They had the ability to put guys in a position. They had the ability to take what they had in them and put it outside on the defense. And so you would hear that voice. You would hear those safeties because you already knew lead by example. It was either lead by example or you're going to hear their voice telling you exactly what it is that you need to do. Okay? Justin Reed gives you that. He is that guy. And the thing is, you don't want no safety who's out there turning down hits. And so this year, he didn't do any of those things. When I'm telling you, he came up and I'm talking about he was tattooing guys. When I was talking about Deion Bush, Justin Reed was doing it. He was laying some wood on folks.
He was all year long.
I love that, man. I love that. So, I'm this is me an appreciation for Justin Reed, what he gave this year, okay? This is a full appreciation for Justin Reed was able to do with our defense because he's an extension of Spags and those guys. So.
JD, this is also something, too, I think someone mentioned, and we kind of talked about it last year, how, like, there was times last year, and you talk about his coverage, the coverage aspect, it just didn't seem like he was getting it, right? And obviously, that was his first year in that system, right? The year before last, not this past season, the year before. It was his first year in that system. And we often talk about how hard it is for offensive players to kind of learn the system and get it right. It takes a while, to really get it right. Defensively, same kind of stuff happens, the same kind of growing pains. This wasn't the same. The Spag system wasn't the same system he was running in Houston. It was a completely different thing. And he finally got that. And this year, you actually saw a click. He became that leader. He was laying the wood. He wasn't playing like, it wasn't playing when he was like thinking too much. He was going out there and doing his thing. And you saw that when the way he was laying the wood out there. He was kind of going out there and just doing his thing. It came second nature to him. And you saw that confidence this year where you didn't see that much last year, but you saw him coming to his own in this defense this year, which really it was kind of glaring from day one this season.
Well, that's being able to get comfortable in that system, right? So as far as once you know a system, then you can just go out there and play and react the way that you want to, right? Before you're thinking through everything, okay, your moves and maybe you're a step behind on those things. So I'm looking at my man, I'm the Brown, right? So and I don't know Cincinnati. I'm trying to remember Cincinnati and the Buffalo games, how he played in those games. My thing is this: I'm the Brown. I'm talking to you, my man. My thought process is this: if you know that you have guys, your team can attack a guy who is maybe weak in their coverage, why weren't teams doing it more, right? I mean, for me as an offensive coach, if I'm coordinator and I understand that this might not be your strong suit, I'm going to exploit it. I'm coming after you. And so I didn't quite see teams going after Reed like they should have. And when they did, he was in position to make plays, right? And look, and granted, look, I get you, brother. I'm right there with you. At times, you always wondering, is he going to catch up? Is he going to make it? Maybe sometimes out of position, but he will recover. Okay, and you're looking for some of that. A guy that may not have the speed, but he has the intelligence to be where he needs to be. Right. That's what makes a great safety. Okay, where you can't cover like a corner. Well, now you just got to know where you have to be. Okay, to make the play. So be all over the field. But Jay, you hit a point. I had the Spags skip. Yeah. My thing is, man, that's with Spags, he's a guy that's going to be able to tailor the best out of a guy. Okay. He's the one that asked Reed, and this is what I love about Spags. Spags going to ask you, what do you do well? What do you struggle with? How can we make this better? And he'll think through it. He'll go through it. He probably came and sat down with Reed and was like, hey, man, listen, there was a couple times maybe last year that you struggled. Okay, in the coverage, what was it that you think that you seen that might have had you slow down, or you weren't able to be there in time? So that conversation has to happen with a Justin Reed. But without a doubt, he was much better this year than he was his first year, no doubt about it. And I think a lot of it is, like you just said, Marcus, is where he is comfortable. He has ingested the defensive scheme as far as what Spags wanted him to do. So,
yeah. I mean, and $14.5 million. I mean, once we lose Sneed out, I mean, it's literally like it's Reed and then it's a bunch of guys who are going to the third year. It's a very young group, and yes, they've won coming out of college. They've won 2 years in a row, but that still doesn't give them that like veteran to be able to teach the young guys. Because look at the safety room. Now, this is not going to happen, but just to talk about Amda Brown's point, look at the safety room. If let's say Reed is gone, you have Brian Cook, who has been a starting safety for half of 1 year. He's coming off an injury. And then Trey Dean, who I don't even know if he's going to be the guy. I don't know. I mean, it's a lot of question marks there to safety room, which you don't really need that. It's his last year of his contract too. So, I mean, let Reed play it out. And as we know, contract year is undefeated. He's going to go out and do his thing even more so. And another year in the system, another year of confidence and being that guy. And even the way we were using him towards the end of the season this year, setting him on blitzes and stuff. I mean, I think he has sack against Lamar Jackson in the AC Championship game. Yeah. I mean, he was. I mean, and you and I, even on the show, we were critical of his play. It was like, And we keep it real, and he played his ass off this year.
He did, man, and it was fluid in his motion, able to get around. He showed me a lot. It was more of his ability. Okay, I didn't know a whole lot about him when he came from Houston. Wasn't really sure, but the first year was underwhelming. This year, I was like, okay, now it makes a whole lot of sense. But Ghost Hunter, like, it's a great point. Everybody in chat's making great points here. He said it's okay to struggle at times, not going to be perfect all the time. What matters is being good at the right time, and that's why we got another ring. Got hot, played great when it mattered. Shoot, no doubt about it. That's exactly what wins you games. is playing great at the right time. Okay. Yeah, you're going to struggle. There's going to be adversity and things that you don't do well. A good team overcomes that. And that's exactly what they did. So great point on that. I'm the Brown, every single Super Bowl one with Spags. The defense got exponentially better in the last quarter of the season. Absolutely, no doubt about it. And we've seen that this year. We've seen that. Should I say this? I'm always going to say this, Marcus. I was telling everybody last year when we put those young corners in, test them out early, right? Test these guys out early. Oh, well, they getting burnt now, man. They learn it. You got to learn the speed of the game, okay? And so I'm going to follow up. I'm going to say this, all right, because this is a conversation that's going out on Twitter, okay? I know there's different people that on different sides of this conversation is the whole Wanye Morris deal, all right? Okay? And my thing is this. Wanye Morris, if he gets enough time up underneath him and he starts getting like he got a little exposure last year, okay, for us. And so if he grows from that, he is going to get better. He has all offseason, OTAs, training camp to do better, to become a better left tackle for us. Is he the guy of the future? This is something we have to figure out. Yeah, he's going to be up for the future.
Yeah,
I'm not in the camp of believing that we need to go get a first round for a left tackle. Not at all. Okay, and there's a reason for that. One of the reasons is if you look over the left tackles of this past year, look at their grades and how they did. They didn't do much better than Wanye Morris did. They just didn't. The grades didn't show it. They didn't bear it out. So you're still taking a guy that you don't really know. If you're going to go in free agency, you got to get a guy that has credibility, who has, solidified himself as a tremendous left tackle in free agency. That would be your best bet if you're going to do anything, right? Mm-hmm. I don't think going draft a guy high and then trying to trade up to get a guy like that. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think you should do something like that unless you go on for going for a John All. Right? Yeah. I mean, that's if anything. And even then, I don't think I'd do it. Okay.
And with him, we're going to have to trade up to get him. I mean, it's going to cost us other assets.
Right. You don't want to do that. Come on, man. You don't want to do that. You don't want to, what's it? Shoot. Cut off your nose to spite your face. You don't want to do things like that. Okay. Because you don't necessarily have to.
Well, I mean, it's like you said, you need to throw these guys into the fire, see what we have from them. And you know what? Because we've seen what we have from them, and they've turned out great, we are able to part ways with JariusSneed and end up saving $20 million to be able to keep Chris Jones in the process. But talking about the third-year jump for a lot of these guys, second-year jump for some of them.
Yeah.
Of these guys, who do you think is going to take the who's the one key guy you want to kind of take a look at? You're going to be looking at extra going into this coming season of these guys in this list. Who's the one guy you're going to kind of circle and be like, I'm going to be watching for him this year to see what kind of growth, what kind of jump he makes?
Williams.
Really?
Yes. Williams is the guy that stands out for me. Okay, because he's supposed to be the one to replace Sneed if something happens. Okay, my thing is. And I've watched him, not just on when he comes in as a reserve, but I watch him on special teams. I look at guys. Look. I watch your effort on everything. If you went in on special teams, I want to see effort from you now. I don't want to see effort because sometimes guys get in their head like, man, I should be starting. I should be doing this. This is beneath me. Hey, man, if you're not giving it out on special teams, then I can't trust you out there on the field. This is a trust issue. And not saying any things about him, but there were times I think in some of our returns where he was the guy that's covering the gunner and he didn't do a good job. It matters to me. So whether it was him, I'm trying to think who else was out there. But sometimes that's a red flag. I'm like, yo, man, like you give your every effort on everything, okay? It's not talking down to Williams. If anything, this is about motivation. Like, hey, man, I don't care what it is that you have to do. Never take a playoff in special teams, anything at all. Never. Whether it be Watson or our linebackers, whoever it may be, because this is a chance for teams to see you, to know who you are. All right. So that's the way that it goes. That's the way it works in the NFL. You're not giving it, if you're not giving an effort and you're not being that guy to win, your battle on special teams, how can I trust you out there on the field? That is not okay. And I'm telling you, this is a conversation that goes into the special teams meetings and the talk. All right. I know this for a fact. That's exactly how this thing works. So Williams is the guy I'll be watching. I'll be watching that joker. Okay. I'll be watching it. Because I think he got a lot of talent. He's long, he's lanky, he's got speed. Third season, he should be flying. It should be no doubt what he's doing and who he should be.
Mm-hmm.
And zero. If anything, he should be a lockdown corner like Sneed. You watch the guy in front of you. You watch what he's been able to do. Emulating him. Matter of fact, be better than he's doing, right? Be better than that guy. So that's where I'm at, man. That's the dude I'm be watching.
Yeah, I think my guy's probably Chamari Connor, just based on the way he was utilized at the end of the season. They just put more and more on his plate. And pivotal games, too, going into the playoffs, going into the Super Bowl. I mean, in the Super Bowl, too. I mean, he was relied upon to make some open field tackles against some of the best in the game with CMC and Debo. And he came up huge and game after game, divisional, the wild card, the AFC Championship game, the Super Bowl. And I'm just curious to see, with Sneed gone, how much more do they put on his plate and what kind of role does he have? Because, again, this is a guy that if you look at his measurables coming out of the draft last year, almost literally his reach, his height, his weight, everything was identical to JariusSneed's. Not saying he is JariusSneed. I'm not saying that at all. He's Chamari Connor. He's his own guy. But there's obviously some kind of some makeup here that they liked in him, and we saw him get a lot of playing time this year. And the open field tackles, I thought he laid licks, and it seemed like by the end of the season, it seemed like he was so confident in his play that he was going out there and playing ball, which is for a rookie, for a guy that we drafted on the third day. It's pretty promising stuff. So that's a guy I'm curious to see how much more of a role he has when JariusSneed's gone on this team next year.
So, and you know this, I told you, you always have to look at somebody's bringing in the same body type as you. I told you, yo, man, listen, on Mondays and Tuesdays, if you see guys working out, all right, and that joker has the same body type as you, you best believe 100% teams are trying to replace you with the same guy like that. We're gonna try to get the same production out of this guy that looks like you, okay, built like you. It may never happen. Right. At least teams they're trying to follow the body type and prototype, right? Shoot. So
you should be kind of flattered, actually. You are the specimen they're trying to match with you. They don't want to pay you the money, but hey, we're gonna try to find something to match what you can give us.
Like Eddie Kane Jr. How does it feel to be me? The 5 heartbeats. You ever seen the 5 heartbeats? People see the 5 heartbeats and know what I'm talking about. How does it feel to be me? Eddie Kane Jr., man, got replaced. He never thought he could be replaced, and the 5 heartbeats replaced him once he got on drugs and whatnot. And so you got to go and check it out. It's a great scene. Ta-da! And what he does, he pulls out, and it's kind of sad because he was so talented and so special that guys, he just never thought he could get replaced. He thought people were coming to come see him. Mm-hmm. It's what happens in the NFL, man. You become expendable with the more money you make. That's what it is, because it is a business. And so teams like, oh yeah, hey man, I love to have this guy for the rest of the life, and yeah, you're gonna play here and be a Chief. Well, we seen what they start doing with Chris Jones. All of a sudden, there's beat him trying to find money, and then people were talking about how bad Chris Jones was, and we don't need him. And it's like, hey man, look, let's be honest here about some things, okay? But yeah, now Watson and Williams are 2 guys. You got 2 guys, okay? So Williams will work out. He's right there to catch. He gonna pick up the ball. The sucker's a net. Like, all right, man, you mess up, that's my time to shine. All right. So you want to get paid? You want to get looked at? That right there is competition and an incentive.
Yeah. It's gonna be really fun to watch. Of all the groups that we said it's going into last year, this is again another year, another season. We're gonna be looking at this secondary room, being like, yep, It's probably one of the most talented groups we have, position groups we have on our team. And that's going to be fun to watch these young guys kind of fly again this year.
I'm looking at the Monte Green Beans. JD, how do these younger, lower paid guys maneuver living situations and domestics when being signed in different cities? It's a good question. Well, put it this way. You better not spend all your check in one place, okay? And you better make sure that you're set before you make any plans, future plans. I don't know if you've seen Terry Crews
on Shannon Sharp's interview.
Yeah,
I didn't watch that.
So I didn't get to watch it. Dex sent it to me, and he was saying that he sent it. It was Terry Crews was talking about how he made the team. He's like, "Look, I made the team. I put my kids in school. That Monday, I had made it through all the cuts. I was good. Got my kids, registered in school. My wife was going here looking for a place. I come in Monday, and they tell me, bring your book in." He's like, hold on. But y'all told me I made the team. He's like, yeah, but but we found somebody else, pretty much basically what it was. And so he was like, I couldn't even leave from the city that I came in. The DC, he was with the Redskins. He's like, I got stuck. It ain't like you just pick up your life and just go somewhere else all of a sudden, right? So these guys, man, I'm telling you, and I see it year in and year out, is sometimes you feel like you've made the team. But I'm going to tell you right now, do not take a break or take a breath, because as soon as you got there, you can be out of there. And some of these guys, hey man, you better live as frugal as you possibly can. Save every penny a dime, because any other week you could be gone somewhere else. That's just the life of an NFL football player. When they say NFL, was it Jerry Glanville said not for long?
Mm-hmm.
That is without a doubt the truth of it. Unless you're a draft pick where they will give you some leeway, and you got a little bit of grace because they drafted you. You got a little bit of, some security. But other guys, I don't know, man. It's not true. You gotta be careful with that.
Man,
good questions.
Yeah, the group chat was live tonight. Love what I saw from you guys tonight. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. So it comes to the end of our episode tonight. We loved everyone's contributions to the chat, the questions, everything you guys had. I'm DeBrown. I loved your pushback on the Justin Reed stuff. That's good stuff. Because again, you're not alone in that. There's a lot of contingency of fans out there who think that cutting Justin Reed will save us money and give us more money to go get somebody else. So there's great questions that we had tonight from all you guys. And our guy Del Green Beans, as always, with some good contributions to the chat.
Wendy asked a tight end question. I've been paying attention to Isaiah Gathings, tight end. I heard that when tight ends are separated for film, he's placed with Kelsey. Do you think they're preening him? I don't know. I don't know how valid that is. They could, but I think all tight ends will be in there with him. I don't think he will just be in there separate with Kelsey, unless he's asking Kelsey like, "Hey man, can you check over some things and do?" I think all tight ends will get in the same thing with them. We'll get into that, talking about tight ends and all of the positions and whatnot a little bit later. I'm gonna have fun talking about the tight ends, man. I'm gonna have some fun talking about some tight ends.
And I don't know if you saw, we apparently we were one of the teams that had an interview with the Texas tight end, the dude coming out of Texas. His name slips my mind. I haven't really dug in on the draft research yet, JD.
Yeah, me either. I know they ask about wide receivers and all type of different guys, and I'll get more into this.
Yeah, Jatavion Sanders. Yep.
And this week I'll get more into it, man. I wanted to see some of the combine, because what you can do is from the combine you could take. Does it translate on the field, right? Can you mesh these two things together? That's the question. Ben Sinatra, from K-State, They like him. He's more kind of an H-back type of guy. Very athletic. See, he had a 40-inch vertical. Shoot, that's what I had. He jumped in there. So I haven't watched Kansas. I haven't really watched to see, how good he is. What was it? Kansas State. I'm sorry.
K-State, yeah.
To actually see how good he is. But I mean, people are talking about him. The reality is this. To think that we're going to find another Travis Kelce is going to be almost impossible task. Yeah. Trav's going to be here for another 2 years, y'all. Everybody kind of just chill out for a little bit.
At least 2 years. At
least two. Okay. It was good to see him. I haven't seen the press conference yet. I just seen little pictures of him when Jason was sitting over there with his speech, and I still got to watch that, man. But hats off, man, to Jason Kelce for this time spending in the NFL with the Eagles. Incredible career. Okay, and I love that the brothers are enjoying themselves, and they've taken every opportunity that is given to them in the NFL and taking it by storm. So,
and we're seeing him wearing more of his cherry red Chiefs stuff and more games, and hopefully more Super Bowls too.
Without the shirt on,
yeah, ripping it off like Hulkamania.
yeah, for sure. Appreciate y'all, man. Look, thank y'all for coming and hollering at us tonight, giving us some good questions, engaging with us. Y'all be blessed. Love y'all. Y'all be good. Yep. Keep it up.
And we'll be coming at you guys 8 p.m. at a new time now, Mondays and Wednesdays for our midweek show. So 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. So
yeah. Go ahead.
I was saying, give everyone time to get home, get your bearings, take a shower, eat some dinner, get a brewski, and or a glass of wine, and sip on some Chief concerns.
That's it, man. Sit back with your boys, man. Have a good time, all right? And come on in, and we all sitting around, in the huddle having a conversation about this thing. So we enjoy you all, and we love it. We love engaging with it. So
yes, sir. Yeah, it will. So we'll see you guys Wednesday night, 8 p.m. for our regular Chief Concerns episode for the week. Everyone has a good night, and we'll see you guys Wednesday night. Love you, brother.
Love you too, my brother. All right, we'll see y'all.
See you, everybody.
Good.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your